That was my second sport growing up, actually.
Did you love it?
Yeah, I did actually. It was a close choice at one point between badminton and football. Luckily and thankfully, I picked football.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Friendlies. I'm Sam Mewis, and today I have a friend of mine on the show who also happens to be one of the most winning women's players in the game. She has a closet full of trophies from her time with Manchester City, Barcelona, Chelsea, and of course, England's Lionesses. One of the most technically savvy, well-rounded, and best passers I've ever played with. It's no wonder that where she goes, greatness follows. It's Keira Walsh. Keira, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Kev.
Oh my gosh, we'll have to get to why you call me Kev.
Yeah.
This episode of Friendlies is brought to you by Verizon, a proud supporter of the global game and the players who inspire us on and off the pitch. As an official sponsor of the FIFA World Cup 2026, Verizon is honored to help share the stories of the world's top players, including the incredible women who are changing the game at every level. Stay tuned for more on how Verizon can get you connected to the game we love. All right, everybody, here is my friend, Keira Walsh. I'm so excited you're here. For those who don't know, we played together at Man City a few years ago. You're actually from the Manchester area, and we're recording this right before the holidays. So I'm wondering, are you heading home for Christmas this year, and what does your family do to celebrate?
Yeah, I am. I'm going home to Manchester. Luckily, we play Liverpool away last game, so I'll just go home after that.
That's so nice. I feel like I remember you used to say you'd go to the Chippy for dinner and get like a curry.
Yeah, we go for an Indian. Yeah, we're going to do that again this year. We always do it.
What's your order?
I normally get like a chicken balti. I don't know how much knowledge you have of curries, but that is what I would go for.
Well, I guess not much, but I would love to come and have that with you sometime.
More than welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so you grew up in Manchester. You grew up a fan of Man City. Do you have any early memories of watching Manchester City play?
Yeah, I think my dad used to take me sometimes to the games, but obviously tickets were quite expensive. So I think there was the one game when Arsenal played City and Adebayor had just signed for City from Arsenal and he scored. I think we won 4-2 and he ran the whole length of the pitch to celebrate in front of the Arsenal fans. So yeah, that was a bit wild, that one.
It sounds like one you definitely remember. So your dad would take you. Obviously, he was a big fan as well. What kind of like encouragement did your dad give you when he watched you play growing up?
I wouldn't say encouragement, to be honest. I think obviously you've played in England, so you know what English people are like a little bit more than American. I wouldn't say so much encouragement, more how I can play better all of the time. I was saying, I don't think he's ever really told me I've ever played well, to be honest with you.
Oh wow, not
Yeah.
even now.
No, not really. No.
Does that like motivate you?
I think it definitely keeps my feet on the ground. That's fair to say. Humbles me for sure, but yeah, I think it does give me motivation. If he says I've played good, then I know I've had a good game.
Yeah. Do you think that's also maybe where you get your like sense of humor and your own little bit of
Directness.
edgy directness?
Yeah, potentially. I think it's a northern thing. I think most northern people are a little bit like that, and I would say I definitely get some of it from my dad, I would say.
Okay, so I also heard that you spent some time in Spain as a kid and that your dad encouraged you to watch Barcelona as well as, English football in Man City. Do you know why he encouraged you to do that?
I think he just likes the way that Spanish teams play football, and I was a little bit smaller when I was a kid. I wasn't a tower of power, so
Not everybody can be.
no, unfortunately not. So I had to work on other things to get better. So I think he just wanted me to be more technical because I didn't have the other attributes.
It's pretty incredible, and we'll get to this, that, two of the clubs that you've played for and had so much success at are Manchester City and Barcelona. Was there a moment in your journey with either of those teams that your dad was like in disbelief, or do you think he always knew that you could get to whatever level you wanted to?
I think he was a bit surprised maybe when Barcelona wanted to sign me. I think because it is the team, right, where like everyone's known for like they have the midfielders, like the best midfielders in the world, and I feel like the way they play football is kind of how I always wanted to. So I think he was a little bit maybe not surprised, but I think yeah, like a bit excited and a bit overwhelmed that they did want to come in and sign me. And I was obviously shocked as well because their midfield is stacked with like so many good players. So it was a bit of a shock, to be honest.
Okay, we're going to talk a little bit more about Barcelona in a minute, but did your dad come watch you play there?
Yeah, he used to watch a few times, but he had to work most of the time, and then my mum could come over on her weekends off. But he did watch the odd game, the El Clasicos and the big Champions League games. He did come and watch.
Okay, cool. I'm going to ask you more about that in just a second. So we're back to young Keira as a child, growing up in England. You played for boys' teams, you played for girls' teams. When you were 11, You were actually named Greater Manchester's Young Sporting Person of the Year, but it wasn't for soccer. This is something
It's
I
for
did.
badminton, I think, no?
It was for badminton, Keira. I had no idea this about you. Tell
Yeah.
me more about your history with badminton.
Yeah, I don't really know. I think I just wanted to play one time. And my mum's a hairdresser, and one of her clients, her husband, is like a badminton coach. And I don't know, I just went down and had a go and really liked it. And I was half decent at it. So, yeah, just kind of that was my second sport growing up, actually.
Did you love it?
Yeah, I did actually. It was a close choice at one point between badminton and football. Luckily and thankfully, I picked football.
I can't believe I never knew that about you. I feel like sometimes at Man City we would like play cricket in the indoor
Yeah.
field,
Hmm.
but you never told me about badminton, and I'm wondering why. I would have loved to play badminton with you.
I feel like I'm not really like an open book in that sense. Am I really, Kev, to be
No,
honest?
you're really
Just more of
not.
a joker, I would say.
You were a little bit of a joker, but I feel like I was an open book with you guys, and I just wish you would have opened up and told me about your history with the sport.
Yeah, I don't know why it never came up, to be honest with you. That's a shame. We could have had a
Um,
game.
we could have had a game. Well, it's not too late. I mean, I am in London often to see my sister and my nephew, so
You're more than welcome to come down a few floors and see me if you want.
yeah, okay, all right. Do you still
Right.
play?
No, I've not played for a very long time. Although the last time I did play, it was with Leah Williamson, actually.
Wow, who won?
Yeah, me. Yeah.
Well, yeah, Greater Manchester's Young Sporting
Yeah.
Person of the Year.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, badminton aside, in your early teens, you started then playing more competitively for Blackburn FC's academy. You would be on that field with your future England teammates like Ella Toone and Georgia Stanway. And this team, now that we're naming players who were on that team, of course, you guys were very, very good. I know firsthand how close you are with Georgia, but I think it's still really cool to like realize that there's such familiarity between you, Georgia, and Ella in England's midfield because you have grown up playing together. What do you remember about playing with them as a kid? And then what has it been like to grow into professionals altogether?
Probably remember Georgia a little bit more. I think Tooney came to Blackburn when she was a little bit older. But I do remember Georgia from when like the younger age groups used to train with us, and her specifically, she always got to train up with the older players. But I just think she's just always been the same. Like she's always played the same way, like tackles super hard, really aggressive, like got a great shot on her. I feel like I took her under my wing a little bit. Like obviously we've got a very good relationship now, but I think even back then, like we've always had the same sense of humour. So I think even when she did come up, like we always got on really, really well. And I think for the three of us now, it's just like I feel like we've known each other for such a long time that like it just feels really, really normal. And obviously, it is such a big thing to be playing for England together. But I think that none of us really like think about it too much. Like we're just like three kids from the north of England playing football together. I think.
Yeah, I get the same sense that friendships like that would also keep you grounded in the same way your dad does. Do you think you and Georgia have that where no matter how much success one of you goes off and has, the other one is always kind of like
Yeah. Like she'll give me grief about it for sure. She gives me grief all the time, and I'll give her grief. I think it does keep you grounded. I think obviously when we play together now, if I make a bad pass or I do something, she's the first one to laugh at me. So it's humbling for sure.
Okay, we're going to come back to the Lionesses in a little bit, but staying with you as a teenager, after 6 years with Blackburn, you then started to get opportunities to play at bigger clubs. And in 2014, you got word that Man City, the club you grew up loving, was starting a women's team. I heard you had another offer, but that you decided to try out for Man City anyway, which kind of feels like this moment of destiny. Were you nervous for that trial?
Not really. This is going to sound bad because I am a City fan, but I actually didn't want to. I didn't want to go. My mum made me go. I'd already trained with like Liverpool a little bit, and they'd just won this Women's Super League, and then I'd trained with Everton, and I had like a lot of friends at Everton, and some of the older players I knew, like Nikita Paris. I feel like I just had my heart set on Everton. Like I just don't know. I just really wanted to go there, and I liked the manager at the time. And then my mum was like, "No, I think you should just go and see what City's about." And I was not having any of it at the time. Like I was just like, "No, my decision's made." And then luckily I did. Yeah, listen to my mum and eventually went down. Trialed for actually the development squad. It wasn't even for the first team, it was for like the reserves. And I think after like 2 or 3 sessions, someone had obviously spoken to Nick Cush about me. And then I just got invited down to train with the first team and turned up in my Blackburn Rovers kit at Man City's training ground.
Wait, what? Why
Yeah.
did you do that? Were you just thought you were supposed to wear a kit there?
Well, I didn't have any other football kit, and nobody told me that I was going to get a kit when I turned up. So, like, I'd never played professional sports before. I had no idea. So I just turned up in my old kit that I had.
Did anybody say anything?
Yeah, I got absolutely rinsed for it. I feel like like you would have been so nice about it, but English girls have just absolutely rinsed me.
I don't even know if, like, I barely know what rinsed means, and I spent a year living in England, but it, like, they made fun of you.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember any of the comments?
Yeah, Jill. Like, I was just known as the girl who played for Blackburn.
Jill
like
Scott.
that.
Jill Scott would say that.
Yeah. Like she just like she just mimicked me the whole time basically for wearing the Blackburn kit.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. Yeah. England's tough. You guys are tough on each other.
Character building. That's character building.
Well, it definitely. I built a lot of character at Man City, getting made fun of by you in Georgia. So you, after you show up in your Blackburn kit, they give you a Man City kit. I presume you do well. Mm-hmm. You make your debut for the club 10 days later. What was that like?
Was it 10 days later? Yeah.
That's what we have here.
Wow. Again, wasn't my finest moment, if I'm dead honest.
No way.
Yeah. So Nick put me on the wing, which obviously we both know I'm not a winger. I don't have those attributes. And it was a close game against Notts County. I think Tony Duggan put me through on goal, and I just completely sliced the ball, like sliced it off the pitch on my debut. And then I got called Vanilla Slice for the next 2 years of my career. Yeah.
You poor thing, Keira. I wish I had known some of this about you.
Why? Because then you could have made fun of me for it.
Well, no, you know I would have never done that. It just would have given me so much insight into just...
Yeah, Vanilla Slice was my nickname for a while.
Wow. How did you overcome it?
I just rolled with it. Like, it just is what it is, isn't it?
I learned this from you. You just have to, like, act like it doesn't bother you.
Yeah, that's what I did. And then they got bored of it and stopped calling me after a while.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You were eventually a huge leader for that team. I mean, it started just a few years later when you were still a teenager. It feels like you and Man City as a club really grew up together. And 3 seasons after the women's team was formed, Man City was dominating, won the domestic double. The very next season, you became the first women's team to ever hold every English domestic trophy at the same time. And I feel like here in the US, a lot of our audience is American. And we talk a lot about the early days of the NWSL. What were those early days of the WSL like? Like, are there stories that you guys all still tell that the girls playing today are like, oh, was it really like that?
When I look back now, like, those are my favourite times, to be honest with you. Like, I think obviously playing for your childhood club and like with some of the girls that I had the opportunity to play with and winning all those trophies at like such a young age, it was just incredible. To be honest with you, most of the stories we tell are actually off the pitch. I think you know what it was like back then. It was a little bit less professional, it's fair to say. We were very, very lucky at City, like even from when it was first formed, like we didn't have to take our kit home and wash it like I know that some of the other teams did. And we were really lucky that we got nutritionists and we got breakfast and lunch on site. So I think, yeah, again, like it was a great example of a club pushing the women's team on from a really, really like early period compared to other teams. And yeah, I think I was lucky enough to be a part of that.
It was incredible. I remember when Man City like made me an offer that I was just kind of like, well, yeah, I mean, there's nothing that could really compete with this. This is so cool that I get to go play. Even I, as an American, had so much respect for the club. So I came to join the team in 2020. It was the middle of COVID. Me and Rose showed up. It was such a weird time in the world. I immediately knew I liked you in Georgia because you guys were so funny. Georgia's been on the show a few times. Like, we've established that you guys were like giving me a hard time. I kind of felt like your older sister in that, but then you would be like making fun of me. And so I was just kind of like, okay. So I wanted to start maybe by telling the story. You called me Kev when we first got on here. Who's Kev and how did that nickname come about? I want to know what you remember.
Do you know what's funny is that I actually call you Kev to Sam Kerr and she's like, who's Kev? And then I'm like, nobody else calls you Kev. I do forget that.
I know. Why? I mean, yeah. Why would they? Who's Kev?
Well, if I remember rightly, I think I have a funny feeling that I'm going to twist this story to suit what I want to say.
Well, please, it'll be funnier. So like, go for it, and I'll correct it when I need to.
I think that we might have been talking about Kevin De Bruyne one time, and you might have said that there was similarities in your playing styles. That's what I remember from the conversation.
I think that is like close enough. So what actually happened is obviously Kevin De Bruyne was playing for Man City when I was there, and I like idolized his play. Like at that, like he was the best player in the world at the time. He was right there at our club. It was so cool. when I decided to like come to Man City, like that was like, I really, you know, admired his style of play. And I got interviewed and asked a very leading question. And I remember specifically being like, I would love to try to emulate Kevin De Bruyne's style. Like, I really admire him as a player. That's what I aspire to be. And the headline of the article was like, Sam Mewis likens herself to Kevin De Bruyne. And I remember seeing it and being like,
I can imagine the anxiety that gave you, actually.
like, my heart's pounding right now. You know that like I would never actually be like, yeah, me and Kev, like we're the same. Like I'm like way too insecure to like actually say or believe that. So I remember telling you and Georgia about this headline and showing you and being like, oh my God, like what am I going to do? And you guys just like obviously pissed your pants laughing and started calling me Kev.
I think I did. I not buy you a Kevin De Bruyne mask at one point?
Probably. And then every time we'd all go get coffee for each other, you guys would write Kev on my little coffee.
I thought it was so funny when we was doing that.
It was so funny. And to me, and I know you meant it this way, and I'm just going to assume this to be true, it came to be like a term of endearment. And like now you call me Kev and now we're friends.
For sure. I even call you Kev to like Nay and Alyssa. And again, you have no idea what I'm talking about.
That is so funny. Okay, well, that's the origin of Kev. I'm so glad we got to tell it. And I hope I get to like clear the air, like clear my name a little bit.
I absolutely love it. Honestly, I absolutely love it. I think it's fantastic.
It was so funny. It was like one of the best like running jokes to come from that time. That team we were on, 2020, 2021, was so special. I actually just spoke with Caroline Ware last week about this team, and I was listing off some of the players. You, Rose Lavelle, me, Kaz, Georgia Stanway, Esme Morgan, Chloe Kelly, Lauren Hemp, Lucy Bronze, Alex Greenwood, Steph Houghton, Jill Scott. It was like such an incredible team. I feel like we didn't really recognize how special it was at the time. We only won one trophy, sadly, but it was very cool. We won the FA Cup early on in the season.
You scored, no?
I did score. I scored a Tower of Power header.
Everton, I remember that.
Yeah, at Wembley.
Classic Tower of Power.
It was
vintage.
Classic.
That was vintage Tower of Power.
Yeah, it was. I feel like I learned so much from playing with all of you, especially you. But before I give you compliments, I want to know if me and Rose were what you expected.
Yeah, you were. I think I didn't expect to get on with you as much as I did, actually, if I'm honest.
I feel like you thought we were going to be like annoying Americans, like I was loud, but...
No, but you're not, I wouldn't say you are. Like, Alyssa's loud, I think. I really like Alyssa, but she's loud. Yeah, Alyssa's loud.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know that side of her.
Yeah, you and Rose got on really well with you. We had a very, very good time. And as footballers, like, I think, like, you two especially made, I would say, the biggest difference to that team at the time. Like, especially you in the midfield. Like, I know you don't like compliments and you feel a bit weird about it, but... I feel like the way you used to just drag the team up the pitch, like literally, it was like, I don't think many, if any, other female footballers have ever done that in the same way you do.
Oh, Keira, that's so nice.
No, it's true.
Well, I really appreciate that coming from you, especially because I immediately, like day one of training, I was like, okay, it's Keira. Like Keira is the heart and soul of the team. She's like the person who dictates everything. Not even just like it was your personality and your demeanor and the way everybody had so much respect for you, but it was your technical ability. Like I said the same thing to Kaz last week, but like I could never get the ball off you guys. And that was so frustrating for me because I was used to putting my physical dominance on people and like you guys would just skirt away from me. And so trainings for me were so challenging and so good because I really had to hone in on what I could do like positionally and like with my brain instead of just using my body. So I feel like I learned so much. We also had so much fun off the field. And I did want you to know that you are the final member of the pit crew to make their debut on the Women's Game podcast.
I forgot about the pit crew.
How could you forget? Can you tell that story?
Yeah, those jumpsuits were not the look worthy.
They could have been, but not for me.
Well, not for me either. Not one part of it suited my body shape at all.
And I do feel like it was the club kind of being like, look, we got you these awesome jumpsuits. They're designer and they're so professional. But then we just looked like we were part of like the pit crew at a race course changing tires.
Yeah, I did look like I would just come from NASCAR, to be honest.
Yeah. And so the pit crew was like, we obviously, like somebody said, we're like the pit crew. We started giggling. And then we have this picture, which we'll show on YouTube, of the five of us. It was you, me, Rose, Georgia, and Abby Dahlkemper in our onesies giggling with COVID masks on at a tire on the side of the stadium.
Yeah, it was on the lights though. The lights they on the pitch. Oh God.
I know.
Do you know what one of my favourite memories of you is though?
No.
Do you remember when we had the 11v11 but against mannequins and it wasn't going very well the session? Gaz was screaming a few times and
Gaz was the coach, yeah.
Yeah, and you just continuously kept slipping for the whole session. And at one point, you was crawling across the pitch, trying to scramble to get back to your feet as fast as you could because you were scared you was going to get shouted at. Meanwhile, I was stood behind you, just absolutely like crying, laughing.
Which wasn't helping because he was so mad at us. And now I'm on the ground. You're pissing your pants laughing. And we just couldn't get it together.
Yeah, I do remember the crawl vividly, actually.
Okay, this is another story that gets told a lot on here, but you said your first game for Man City wasn't very good.
I know what you're going to say.
My first game for Man City, I got like 17% pass completion and I only played for like 10 minutes. And basically what that means is every time I got the ball, I kicked it out of bounds. And do you remember one time? You tell us.
Do. Well, I don't know obviously what my reaction was. Did you not just like turn around and just kick it out for a throw-in?
And then I went like this. as if so, I don't know.
Was there.
Somebody should have been there.
Like, who is she looking at? Because someone there.
Yeah. And then like as soon as we were close enough to like laugh about it, like a week later, I was like, Keira, remember that? And you were like, yeah, I thought she was gonna be good. And here she is kicking all these balls out of bounds and we lose the game.
No, you was good after that. Just a bit of nerves, wasn't it?
It was a big game. Look, we went down a player. It was what's the community cup, the community shield.
The community shield.
First game of the season against Chelsea at Wembley.
True.
Yeah, I didn't do great. But I turned it around. Okay, this is my last Man City question, and then we are going to move into the rest of your incredibly storied career. But I know that Jill Scott has been such a big part of your development. I love watching what she's doing now, and every time I see her, I'm reminded of our time all together at Man City. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you think Jill and her influence on you really changed your trajectory as a player?
I think Jill is just like an incredible person, and I think like most people who meet, like you know that from experience. I think for me, she just took me under her wing from such a young age, and I think being able to play with like such a world-class player with almost no pressure, because she never put any pressure on me. Like if I made a mistake, like she was always the first one to like make me feel better and pick me up. And I think she probably didn't realize the confidence she gave me at the time. And I think she also did all the dirty things in the game that I probably didn't enjoy doing. And she made me look a lot better for it, like all the heading and the slide tackling. And I think she doesn't get enough credit for her as a footballer, but I think just even on me as a person, I think I have softened a lot now as I've got older. And I think it probably is because of Jill a little bit, and how people still speak about her now in the game and how much fondness people have of her. I think obviously everyone wants to win, but I think it's more importantly about how you want to be remembered as a person. And I think that's something that she always taught me, I would say.
That's very sweet. I know Jill would love to hear that, and then she would immediately make a joke and get out of it. But
yeah, sure.
I also loved playing with Jill, and I learned a lot from her, like especially about leadership. In 2022, you decided to leave Man City and go to Spain to play for Barcelona, another club that you looked up to and admired as a kid. When you first arrived in Spain, I feel like everybody, talks about Barcelona as having such a specific style, the Spanish style, and you had never played there before. Did you find the style difficult to adjust to at first?
Yeah, so I think like naively I thought, because Pep's at Man City and he's got like a style of play that's from Barcelona and we play that way, like obviously it's going to be different, but like I'll be all right. And I remember going into the first session and I was just like, what have I done? Like, what have I actually done? Like, I thought I was technical. I thought I was a good passer. No, like I'm absolutely not. Like when I got in that first session, I remember my agent was actually watching and I just looked at him and I was like, why have you brought me here? Like, what am I doing here? Like they were all so good, like genuinely incredible.
What do you remember like feeling?
Just incredibly overwhelmed.
Wow. Who stood out to you the most at your first training?
It's hard to say. Like they were all probably Patri or Mariona, to be honest. like Mariona in my first session, like I just like couldn't get anywhere near her. Like she was just unbelievable.
That's incredible. It's cool to hear that though, because we obviously all like revere Barcelona so much. And it's cool to hear that it's like, you know, when you show up there in person, even as Keira Walsh, it's like, oh wow, this is like kind of a different thing. You did find your footing on the team. You ended up having like a really, really great stint there. And you were part of a huge part of Barcelona winning the Champions League, which was obviously a dream that sadly evaded us at Man City. What did it feel like to win Champions League for the first time?
It's hard to put into words. I think it's always something that I've set out, like I wanted to win. Obviously it would have been nice to do it in our time at Man City, but I think being able to do it with that team and those set of girls was also special. Like I think they're a really, really great group of girls, and I've got a lot of friends on the team now, and I think to do it the way we did it as well, like obviously it was not a great first half, but I think to come back and win 3-2, it was, yeah, not many teams can do that in the Champions League, and I think that kind of like it showed how special our team was and how special Barcelona is.
Now you played for City for a long time. You went to Barcelona. You're back at Chelsea. You returned to England in 2024. Your return was the result of one of the highest transfer fees of all time, which is very cool, Keira. How did it feel to come back to the WSL, kind of in this new era of women's football where things have really exploded, but to do so with, you know, a different kind of international experience and a maybe like a more well-roundedness to your play?
It took me some time to adjust. Like I always have thought we've been English and I've played in WSL before, but like the league has changed so much and it's a lot more physical, I would say, a lot quicker than what I was used to the first time when I left. But I think what I struggle with more is I feel like when you're in Spain, you're kind of away from all the noise and there's not a lot going on off the pitch, and like you could really just focus on football, and it's much more of a culture rather than, like, I feel like when you're here, it's like everyone wants to know, like the fans want to know what you're doing with your life off the pitch and like what you're wearing and who you're dating and who you're friends with, and I think that was probably more difficult for me because I wasn't used to it living in Spain. Like all they're bothered about is you playing football, so I think that took me a bit of time, and obviously I'm used to it now, but when I first came back it was a little bit difficult, I would say.
Yeah, I think part of the game growing and exploding and fans being more and more invested and more interested is that, you know, there is a pull for more from all the players. You are the on-field version of yourself, and the off-field version of yourself has all these opportunities as well, and finding that balance can be really hard. I mean, I, you know, haven't played in years, and thinking about the demands on all of you now is like really seems overwhelming. My last question about Chelsea, and then I want to talk about England a little bit, is I feel like your Champions League winning experience now has given you such perspective on what it requires to win that tournament. And so knowing what you know as you play with Chelsea, who obviously the Champions League title evaded you last year, even though you won everything else, what do you think Chelsea's main focus should be in Champions League?
I think obviously you want to win every game in the Champions League. I think obviously the format's different now, but I think from my time in Barcelona, like it was probably more about the performance rather than, like, obviously it's always about winning, but I think if you can keep performing and playing well, I think that serves you better in the later rounds. I think if you can find that consistency earlier on, then I think that's kind of what sets Barcelona apart from the rest. I think you can see this season, obviously, you know, when we played them, it was a bit of a different game, but they do score so many goals. And I think that's then kind of what comes into fruition at the end of the competition because the players are so confident and everyone's firing and ready to go. And we obviously learnt from the Barcelona game last year. And I think sometimes it is just about shutting up shop as well. It's not about like trying to chase the game and always play the prettiest football. I think sometimes, like, especially with England, like we don't always play the nicest way, but it's effective and we win. And I think, yeah, maybe that's kind of what we tried to do this year when we played Barcelona, and it worked out a little bit better. And obviously, we get to the later rounds of the competition, and I think that probably serves the same as well.
That makes a lot of sense. I do want to use that to transition into the Lionesses. And congratulations, obviously, on another
Thank
Euros
you.
win this summer. It was so fun to watch. Though I know as a player, sometimes the more fun it is to watch as a fan, the more stressful it is for the players because it means the games are really close. So your current Lionesses squad is a really great mix of like young, up and coming talent and then veterans like yourself who have been around and done a lot already. Are you starting to feel like more and more of a leader on that team?
Yeah, maybe Serena has encouraged me to do it a little bit more. I think, like, you know how I am, like, I'm not always like the loudest in terms of like trying to motivate everyone. Like, it's just not my style, really. I think, like, I am probably a little bit more direct and I probably speak more on the pitch with the team rather than off the pitch. So I think that took me a little bit of time to get used to. And I am getting a little bit older now. So I think you kind of fall into those roles, don't you, as you get on a little bit more.
I would encourage you as well, Keira. I think you are a really great leader, and your younger teammates must find so much to look up to in you. Do you see yourself in any of your younger teammates?
There's a girl at Chelsea, she's called Lexi Potter, but she doesn't play for the national team yet. But I think probably her a little bit. I think when I was younger, I was a little bit more timid, and I think like she's really, really talented. I think she just needs to have a little bit more confidence and back herself. I think once I found my feet, I was confident, but I think at first, going into a first team when I first joined City, I was a little bit timid. Knowing now as an older player, like we don't mind if she makes a mistake or if she keeps asking me for the ball, then that's great. Like I'll keep giving her. I want her to be confident. So I think maybe I see a little bit of myself in her sometimes.
That's really sweet. Okay, so one thing I did feel, and you mentioned this a little bit, was, at the Euros, maybe England the game plan didn't always come off perfectly, or you didn't always play the most beautiful football, but you found a way to win. And I feel like that's such an important skill for teams to learn ahead of a big tournament like the 2027 World Cup. Can you just talk to us a little bit about what that feels like in the moment when, maybe things aren't going perfectly, but it looked like you guys just had this belief you were going to figure it out anyway. Is that a skill, something you guys are learning?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit stressful. Stressful for sure. I think, if I'm honest, I feel like that's probably what, like when you look at like the teams of America of like all the like years before, like I feel like you always had the same belief. And I think that's probably what was missing from the English team a little bit. Like, I think we always had the talent, we just didn't have the belief and the determination maybe that America did. And I think that's probably something that we've definitely brought in. And I feel like even till the last whistle, like we don't ever believe that we're going home or we're out. And I mean, we didn't always play the nicest football. And I guess for Serena, it was probably even more stressful than us. But I think in a tournament, it's seven games, isn't it? If you win 7 games, you're going to take the trophy home. And I think that's something that we've been a little bit more pragmatic about. I mean, me when I was younger, like I always wanted to play the perfect game. And if I didn't, it stressed me out and I'd get annoyed and I'd be angry. But I think as I've got older now, I've learned, like, I don't know, if you win, like, you win, don't you? Doesn't matter how you do it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I was the same way growing up. I wanted everything to go perfectly. And I think that when you're in a moment like a tournament, it's like it really can't go perfectly. And you have to just kind of accept that. And when you win, you forget about it and you move on and you just keep like fighting. But it was cool to see that belief in England, because I agree that it's something I feel like you guys have been gaining momentum in over the past few years. I only have 2 more questions for you. One is just about the Men's World Cup next summer. I'm curious if you and the men's England team are close. Will you be watching closely? Will you be cheering for them? Do you know any of the players?
Yeah, like you see Tuchel sometimes at St. George's Park, and he was actually, I visited Georgia not about a couple of weeks ago in Munich, and he was on our flight from Munich, and yeah, we were chatting to him. It was really nice. I mean, yeah, I'm going to watch the tournament. I obviously want England to win, and I think they've got a really talented team. I trained with Declan Rice a little bit once in Dubai, and he was a really, really good guy. And yeah, I would love for him to do well and go and win the World Cup, to be honest.
Oh, wow. It would be incredible for England after so much success from the women's team. So my last question, Keira, kind of like looking to the future, I feel like in your time as a professional, there's been this explosion of enthusiasm for women's soccer in England. You have seen the game grow so much in popularity and professionalism, but you're also, you're all over Europe as well, and you're witness to some of the slower progress in some other countries in Europe. So I think what I'm wondering is, what do you see in England's journey that you think could inspire some other areas to gain momentum and traction in women's football as well?
I think probably the biggest thing for us was like just the shift after we won the Euros. I think it's really hard to get the backing if you've not won anything yet, and I don't think it's right, but I think it kind of shifts the whole country's mentality towards the sport. So I think for me, obviously, I went to Spain and I was there when they won the World Cup, and I think like the disappointing thing for me was that the conditions for those girls didn't change after they'd won the World Cup. It's like it's the biggest trophy in the world, and they came back and things were pretty much the same. And I've obviously seen them day to day and how hard they work and how professional they are. And they are the best players in the world. And I think they probably don't get what they deserve sometimes. So I think for me, that was probably, a really, really disappointing thing, not even as a professional, but as a friend to those girls and like a teammate. I think they deserve to be playing on better pitches and, better referees and better standards around the game in general. I think that's something that, they probably could take from the WSL. I think even just the way that we're supported from our clubs and with the training schedules and travel. And I feel like we get everything now to put us in the best place to perform. And obviously, like we said, we was really lucky at City, but that also wasn't always the case with a lot of WSL teams when we were both at Man City. So I think it was probably just off the back of the success of the Euros. And it would have been nice if, the Spanish team could have had the same when they went back to the La Liga.
Yeah, definitely. I think, from our perspective here in the US, seeing the growth of the WSL, especially after that first Euros win in 2022, I mean, we here have so much access to your games, which is amazing. And I know with, my sister Christy and Sam's experience over there, things have just improved so much. And it feels really, even when I go, like the country is so respectful and so aware of women's football in a way that I think the Lionesses have really had such a huge hand in. So hopefully more and more countries around Europe will kind of continue to appreciate the women's game in that way. But Keira, this was like so much fun to catch up. I'm like so happy we got to do this. It was
really nice to see you, Kev.
It was so nice to see you. I loved walking down memory lane together.
Yeah, it was fun. It was very fun.
It was really fun.
I really enjoyed it. Do it again sometime.
You know what? I would love to, and I'll text you to make it happen.
Lovely.
Next time I'm in London, let's play badminton.
Yeah, let's do it. I don't know any badminton courts, but we can play paddle or something maybe.
Yeah, we can actually definitely play paddle. That would be so fun.
Great.
Thank you all so much for listening. It was really fun catching up with Keira. I'm so grateful that I got the chance to play with her and all the other amazing teammates that I had at Man City. Talking to Keira felt like no time had passed at all, and I'm so glad we had the chance to share this conversation with all of you. Before we let you go, we've got our linked up voicemail of the week presented by Verizon. And each week we want to hear from you. We want you to call in. So you can call anytime and leave a voicemail at 855-611-4050. And you could be the next featured guest on an episode of Friendlies. Here's our caller this week.
Hi, Sam. Well, it was so cool to hear your voice on that voicemail. Honestly, I was just calling to see if the number was real and what would happen. Anyways, happy holidays. Hope you're doing well. I guess I should ask a question. Do you do holiday photos with your puppies, with your dogs, and who do you send them out to? To everybody in the family? Well, happy holidays.
Thank you so much for calling in. I love the question about if we do holiday photos and holiday cards. We have done them in the past, but I'm too lazy. I feel like especially this year with this big trip we have coming up to Australia, we did not get any pictures taken and we did not send out any holiday cards, but I do someday aspire to be the type of person who can pull all of that off. I love getting Christmas cards. I love when I can see a family that I know and a picture of all of them and their dogs and everybody's all grown up and looks amazing. It's so nice to get those. So I do want to send them out someday. There's always 2026. Thank you so much for calling in. That was our linked up voicemail of the week presented by Verizon. If you want to join us for this segment, the banana phone is open. You can call 855-611-4050. Just leave a message, ask me anything, and you could be our next featured listener. Thanks to our friends at Verizon. Next week is a very special week, everybody. We have our Friendsmas episode for all of you. That's dropping on Monday. So be sure to check it out if you're traveling home for the holidays. I think it will get you in the holiday spirit. Also, Mewis Squared drops tomorrow, so make sure to check that one out as well. It's wedding themed, so I'm excited for you all to hear it. If you haven't already, please make sure you're subscribed to either this YouTube channel or podcast feed, or you could double check that you're subscribed to both. And if you're looking for some last minute gifts, be sure to check out our new shop. We have tons of women's game merch. It's at shop.menandblazers.com. Thank you all so much for being here, and we'll see you soon.